training of our Californian sea lions. Now here at the zoo we have 4 Californian sea lions. We have 1 male and 3 females. And the first one to come out and do some spectacular ball jumps there is a young female who's called Sophia. And Sophia was bred at Rotterdam soon. If you missed the first ball jump, and here comes another one for you. It's Sophia's favourite activity. Now, although the sea lions are here for one reason only, and that's to be part of the European breeding programme for this species, it's really important we do spend a lot of time with them. The training means it makes a really important part of the environmental enrichment programme that we have here for the sea lions at the zoo. All of the animals around the zoo have some form of enrichment, whether it's training or giving them food in cardboard boxes. Every species has its favourite activities. The sea lions really do enjoy all of the training which the students also feel learning here today. And all of the training is taught through doing what's known as positive reinforcement. Each time they do something correct, we reward them with a lot of fish for getting it right. They don't get it right, we don't scream or shout at them, we don't let them go hungry at all, we'll simply move on to another behaviour and then go back to it. We want the training to be fun. After all, that's the whole reason why we do it, to make sure we keep them stimulated both mentally and also physically. So little Sophie has been here now for 2 years. She knows 30 different behaviours. Each one has that different signal. And they never stop learning. A lot of people ask me how long does it take to train a sea lion. They never stop training. They never stop learning these new behaviours. That's what is really enriching for their lives. They get very excited when they do suddenly crack a new behaviour you've been working on for weeks, if not months, or even years to try to achieve. But little Sophia here really is a very quick learner, even though she did overshoot her little station there. And this last little bit she taught all by herself because she realises that people get very excited with her doing the ball jumps and also the porpoising. So again, we make sure that we reward her for doing these behaviours and encourages her to do them more and more. We also get lots of other forms of enrichment throughout the day, like lots of scatter feeds, they're fish when they don't expect it, and also fish that are hidden in their toys. They have to play with those toys in order to get their food from them. That's the first reason as to why we do the training with our sea lions here at the zoo. The second reason is so hopefully we can check them out each and every day to make sure they're all in completely top health. These are, after all, the breeding group that we have here, so with the females, we have to keep a very close eye on their health. Females are pregnant for a whole year. After all of that time, they give birth to just a single pup. And that pup takes milk from its mother for another year before they wean off onto a diet of fish. So with the females, it's important we teach them to lay down so they can have some scans on their belly without having to restrain them at all by force. We don't hold them down. They need to just do it all willingly because obviously we don't want to try and stress them out. And a stressed out sea lion can easily become a dangerous sea lion as well. They have got some very large teeth in there. Now this little girl here is called Rooney, and she was bred here at the zoo going back now 10 years ago. So she really is a beautiful little sea lion. They've got a very close connection with all of the keepers here at the zoo. So you can pretty much do anything with this little girl. You can turn her inside out. She really doesn't mind doing any of these medical behaviours as long as she gets lots of fuss and attention as well. So this is the second reason as to why we train the sea lions, so we can make sure we can look them over head to toe every single day, check they're all in full health. And if we ever need to do anything medically, we should be able to do this such as x-rays and also blood draws without having to try and sedate a sea lion or restrain it. They don't do well under sedation at all, and restraining a sea lion, like I say, is very difficult, it's very slippery work, and also potentially dangerous for keepers as well. And the third reason as to why we do all of the training with our sea lions. So hopefully you'll go home today becoming a little bit more passionate towards these marine mammals. Just on swimming around the pool, you might well know how graceful these guys are, but you might not understand how intelligent and sociable they are. So by us bringing them out here, doing a quick training session with them all, means that hopefully we can get you a little bit more passionate towards them. Now, lots of people do look at our sea lions here and call them seals. So the next sea lion coming out is going to show you 3 differences between seals and sea lions. Now, all over the world, there are 33 different types of seals and sea lions that you can find. Only 2 types live around the coastline of Great Britain. That's the grey and also the harbour seal. Now we do have a little harbour seal, grey seal rescue here, up by the camels. And at the moment we've got one little harbour seal pup that came into that rescue last week. It's come back to full health with the help of antibiotics and a wormer. And so hopefully now all we've got to do is put on lots of weight. It has to be up to around 40 kilos in weight before we can then release it back out there in the wild. And we know because we tag our seals that we release that many of them live a very long age, and they do indeed breed very successfully out there, even those who come into our rescue centre. But these, of course, are not seals. These are beautiful sea lions, and this gorgeous boy is the only male of our group. His name is Casper, and Casper was bred at Belfast Zoo. He came to us 3 years ago under the approval of a separate coordinator looked into all the bloodlines to find the right one to join our breeding group here at the zoo. Now, although he is sexually mature, he's not yet fully grown. He won't become fully grown until he's around 8 years of age. So if you come back in 3 years' time, he's going to be pretty much a monster. He's going to be around 1/4 of a ton in weight and twice the size he is now. So he's going to be a very large sea lion indeed. And that's because male sea lions always reach twice the size of the females. So the Casper today is going to show you a few differences between a seal and a sea lion. Now, first of all, if you have a look at the side of a sea lion's head, you can see they have these little earlobes on the side. They are very small, but they do have them. Now, seals don't have any earlobes at all. Seals just have holes in the side of their head, which are covered by fur. So that's your first difference. The second difference is that sea lions have these really long and powerful front flippers. And they can use them as big oars to push the water out of the way, as you saw Casper doing that lovely ball jump, or indeed for doing beautiful waves as well. But if you look at a seal, you'll notice that seals have very short front flippers with claws on the ends, so they have to move to the water by using their backbone. The third difference is the way they move on the land. Sea lions run really quickly on land, and that's because they're able to tuck their hind flippers up underneath their body and run just as fast as you and I can. Seals slide on their bellies, just like so, in a caterpillar or slug-like motion. They can't run like a sea lion can. So that's your 3 main ways how you can tell seals and sea lions apart. They all do belong to the same family known as the pinniped family. That includes the seals, the sea lions, and a very well-known walrus. So they all have the same dangers they face out there in the wild, dangers of natural predators such as sharks and killer whales, and of course with pollution. But that is not the reason as to why the Californian sea lion came into captivity as part of the breeding program. This is because, unfortunately, pinnipeds were being taken from the wild in large numbers in the early 1900s for their blubber to be turned into oil. So most of the species of seals and sea lions was decimated. The elephant seal was widely affected. It went down to only around 500 surviving individuals left out there in the entire world. Luckily for the Californian sea lion, it became a protected species by the American government in the early 1900s. The man could no longer hunt them, which is excellent news. Their population has now gone up to an estimated 130,000 of them now left out there in the wild. Excellent news. The population is still increasing, but as the Californian sea lion is only find living in one area in North America from Canada all the way down to Mexico. It's important we do keep a really close eye on their numbers. Obviously, one big oil spill could easily affect 100% of that population. So this little girl here who's joining us is Spray, and Spray is Rooney's mum. She was bred here at the zoo, just like Rooney, going back now 14 years ago. And 14 might seem like a very old age for a sea lion. The sea lions can usually reach around 20 to 30 years in captivity, although usually it's around 15 to 20 years out there in the wild. We do have the record, the oldest living female sea lion called Prue, who some of you may remember, and that was Spray's great-grandmother, is indeed. She's lived till 36 years of age, so I'm sure having the same genes, little Spray here is going to live a very long time indeed, aren't you, girl? Yes, she said, she agrees with that one. So Spray here has been working on a little impersonation of those predators they'll fear out there in the wild. Now, it must be said, it's not very good, is it, at the moment? We're going to give it a go. Oh, that's a very nice little short impression there of one of those sharks or killer whales. Of course, because she's been bred here through lots of generations now, she's never seen one before in her life. So it was pretty good then. She's nothing to be embarrassed about at all, little Spray. The more dangers they face out there is of the pollution of toxic substances that sometimes go into the waterways, but also in lost litter. So Spray here has got an important message of what she thinks you do with all of your plastic, which is of course to pop it into the recycling bin. Well done there, Spray. Try and keep the environment as nice and clean as possible. Well, we do hope you enjoyed watching our beautiful sea lions here at the zoo. All the sea lions are now becoming back up the top, and they'll be having some more food in the pool. If you have any questions, then please don't hesitate to ask me. So for now, the beautiful Spray, Rooney, Casper, and little Sophia, we do hope you learn a little bit more about these amazing marine mammals, and do enjoy the rest of your day here with us. Along to the feeding and training of our Californian sea lions. Now here at the zoo we actually have 4 sea lions here in total with us. We have 1 boy and 3 very lovely girls, and our first sea lion that's come out on the beach here to be introduced to you is one of our girls. She's called Rooney, and Rooney is actually 11 years old now, so she was born here at the zoo. Her mum is here with us also, and you'll meet her a little bit later on in the show. Her name is Spray. But Rooney here has been doing training with us since she was a little pup, really. The second she saw what her mum was doing, she was trying super hard just to involve herself, and she does know a lot of behaviours. Our guys here know at least 30 different behaviours each. Apart from our youngest girl, Sophia, who's only 4 years old and she's only been with us here the past 2 years. So she's still got a little way to go with her training, but the rest of them really are old pros now. Now we do this training with them 3 times a day. It's really good for them both physically and mentally. They're a very sociable mammal and very intelligent too. The Californian sea lion is much more intelligent than dogs. So they never know what they're going to be coming out here and doing. We don't really have a set order at all. And of course, we don't always just bring one out separately each time either. Sometimes we can bring all 4 out, sometimes we'll just have a couple of out for them. So it's always a little bit different.
But you'll see with our training here, we can get really up close to our sea lions. We have a really good bond with them. You have to put in a lot of time with these very lovable animals. But it really does pay off, because it means we can check over our sea lions here for any signs of ill health or injury, because we want to make sure they get the best care possible. Now I'm just having a little look at Rooney's flippers there. I'm just going to check them over to make sure that there's no cuts or scrapes on them at all. They do only have sensitive skin, so they're quite prone to the odd cut. So of course she's happy to let me touch them though. So if she did have a problem, I can apply some cream to help that heal, or just give her a little bit of pain relief in her fish. Now it's very important to check their hind flippers too, particularly during breeding season. Now has just passed us, that has just been gone in around July. But actually, as part of their courtship ritual, they're a bit brutal towards one another. They'll actually fight one another on their hind flippers. So you want to make sure there's nothing serious. But a really good way to be able to tell if they have any flipper problems is to just have a little look as to how they move on land, because they can put those hind flippers underneath them to run on all fours. So if she had a problem, she wouldn't be able to put any weight on it. Now you can always see how they move through the water as well. They're very energetic animals, very, very playful too. So if Rooney here was being a bit more lethargic and not jumping around in the pool, as she usually does, then that might also indicate that she's not quite herself either. Now it is very important to check the insides of their mouths. We do this every day. So I'm having a little look for any redness or swelling she may have. Now she's still a young sea lion, so she shouldn't really have too many problems, but older sea lions do tend to suffer quite a lot of teeth and gum issues. But the advantage of us looking each and every single day does in fact mean we're going to spot anything wrong with them really quickly, and we will get our vet out immediately. So they do have to work quite closely with the vet. Now, no animal really likes the vet, do they? They send them a mile off, but our guys here are very tolerable of him, and we have trained them for certain procedures. Now, our guys here are part of a managed breeding program, so they are a breeding group. So Rooney here is going to present her tummy to me. So if she is to become pregnant, it does mean that the vet would be able to perform an ultrasound against her tummy there, just to make sure that that pup is doing okay. So I think it's safe to say Rooney is in absolutely fine health. She's super keen out here this afternoon. So she is going to go down and get the rest of her fish now. But as part of this breeding program, we have had a lot of sea lion pups go off to various different zoos over the years. Because of course you can't always keep them all, it would result in inbreeding. So we do also get sea lions from other zoos as well. So our male, Casper, did in fact come to us from Belfast Zoo to be our breeding male. And we've also got the young girl, Sophia, who I mentioned previously, and she actually came to us from Rotterdam Zoo. So Casper here actually hasn't fathered any pups yet. He's still a little bit on the young side at the moment. He's just 6 years old. And the bull sea lions don't actually reach maturity until around 8 years old. So we did kind of hope maybe we would have pups this year, but unfortunately not. And the females are actually pregnant for a whole year, so it is a very long time to wait. But our next sea lion that I've brought out here is in fact our boy. So this is Casper. So he's not actually full size yet, even though you'll notice he's a lot bigger than Rooney. The males are a lot larger than the females. And Casper here you won't recognise in a few years' time, because he's actually going to be twice the size he is now and weigh at least 30 stone. He is going to be very big indeed. So he gets fed almost half a bucket full of fish at the moment. Feed him up. But he is a massive softie. He loves his kisses. I'm pushing me forward into the fence as well. But he's a very lovely sea lion to work with. Now you'll notice he's actually a lot darker in coloration than Rooney there. Rooney's more of a dark brown, but the males appear almost black after they've been out there in the water. But if he has done a bit of sunbathing on the rock out there, he will actually dry out to a dark brown colour. They have very velvety fur too. And the females are actually pale blonde. So that is another way to be able to tell the difference between males and females. But also if you have a look to the top of his head, you'll notice he's got that little bump there. Now this is called a crest, and even that's not fully grown yet. That does become more protruded as the males get older. Now in Casper, I was just going to tell you some differences between seals and sea lions. You get embarrassed when you get called a seal, don't you? He's not a seal at all. But in fact they are all part of the same family, which is the pinnipeds, and does include the walrus too. But obviously they don't often get confused for walrus. They do look very different indeed. But seals, it's a little bit more difficult. But the main giveaway is actually the area we live in. We're not tropical enough over here to have any species of sea lion native to our waters. But we do have two native species of seal. That's the grey seal and the harbour seal. But the Californian sea lion, hence their name, you do find off the southern coast of California all the way down to Mexico. Now when you're looking at those differences between them, if you have a look to the side of Casper's head, you'll notice he's got those two very prominent earlobes sticking out either side. They're very noticeable. But if you look at a seal, you can't see their ears at all, because effectively they do just have a hole covered over by fur. Now the second difference is to actually do with their flippers. Casper here has got those lovely long front flippers, but if you have a look at the back, they are much shorter hind flippers. With a seal though, it is the opposite way around. Their hind flippers are much longer and their front flippers much shorter, so they move completely differently on land. Casper there can tuck those hind flippers right up underneath them to run on all fours, and you can see they're much more flexible and at ease with running around on land, but the seal has a bit more of a difficult time. They are quite clumsy. Hopefully Casper here will give his demonstration of the seal. He does have an absolutely brilliant impression, because they will slide along on the floor there, on their tummies, with in a caterpillar or slug-like motion. You even got a clap there, Casper. You did very, very well. So we always give them bonuses of extra fish when they've done a good job. But the way they do have those really long, powerful front flippers helps them propel themselves out there in the water. Now these guys can actually reach speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. But they do have a couple of predators out there that they do have to face. Luckily, they don't have to face any here whilst they're with us. But Casper does have an impression of one of those predators too. So hopefully, okay, or not, that wasn't a good impression, Casper. So we're going to try that one more time. You do a really good impression of that too. So their predators actually reach speeds of up to 40 miles an hour, so they wouldn't actually be able to outswim them at all. So hopefully the majority of you have guessed he was doing an impression of a shark there. So they really do rely on the fact that they need to change direction very, very fast in the water and be able to make it safely to land if they're going to try and outswim a shark. Well, Casper's done an amazing job as well. He's going to go and get his fish. But if they have been lucky enough to make it back out to land out there in the wild, then they will use their incredibly loud bark in order to warn other sea lions on the beach there that there is in fact danger in the water, and they shouldn't go in until it's a little bit safe. So they are very sociable. Generally, how they work out there in the wild, there'll be a male and he'll have a whole harem of females. Now, luckily, Casper's just got 3 to worry about here, but out there in the wild, they have around 20, which is why they're such a large size, because they will need to fend off any rival males. But our next sea lion coming out here is Spray. She's the mother of Rooney, who I pointed out earlier on in the show. So Spray here is our oldest sea lion. She's 15 years old. But actually she is just in her prime, because 15 is not old for a Californian sea lion. These guys have a lifespan of up to 30 years. And Spray's great-grandmother actually lived with us here to a very long age of 35 years old. So hopefully we'll have Spray here just as long. Now, I did just mention about that bark. Spray has an incredible bark on her. She's possibly one of our noisiest sea lions here in the group. She's very vocal. She is quite a character here. Now, obviously, the method of training we use here is called target training. So what we do actually use is a long stick with a soft pad on the end of it. Now when you originally begin to train them, you want to touch that pad with their nose. Now she's gotten a little bit confused. She'll go and jump out of the window now, there we go. She does know a signal over there that does mean to do that, but you got that wrong as well. We've been daft again. Sometimes Spray likes to do what she wants to do. So we're going to look for her to touch it with her nose there, which she's doing perfectly. But of course, when you first present that stick to them, they're not going to know that they have to touch it with their nose. In fact, it's probably going to involve a lot of biting first. But if you have a look to the side of Spray's head, you'll notice that she's got those very long and sensitive whiskers. Now, they do use these to investigate items both on land and out there in the water too. So they're constantly using their noses to suss out what things are. So when they do touch that with their nose, you give them a massive reward of fish. And the more you do this with them, the more they quickly pick it up. That's the behaviour they wanted us to do. And then you can actually get them to move anywhere in the enclosure with the target stick. Hopefully she'll be focused again now. And see, no. She's very eager to impress me today. That was very cute, Spray, but not what I wanted. Should we try again? So she's obviously looking for a few extra fish this afternoon. Oh, well, thank you. I always take me out with it as well. Should we go do this now? So you can get them to touch this target stick anywhere in the enclosure, even out there in the water. But you'll notice when you have got that good bond with them, you can, get the words out, take away that stick completely, and we can just use the backs of our hands. Now if you do more complex behaviours, like a ball jump, Spray uses the yellow one, which she's not going to do either. She's a bit obsessive with that thing, isn't she? But if we're doing that, then you'd get her used to the yellow ball and touching it with her nose on land first, rewarding her with fish constantly. And then you move it out there in the water and use a long extended stick in order to be able to get it to target it out there too. Again, rewarding them with fish all of the time. And then ultimately you can take away that stick altogether and just put a hand movement to it, and they pick it up really quickly. Well, Spray's been a character here this afternoon, that's for sure. But all of our guys have done a brilliant job, so she's going to go and get the rest of her fish. So it does bring us to the end now. So with our last sea lion, Sophia, I'm going to be doing a training session off the commentary with us. So do feel free to stick around if you do want to watch that. But for now, thank you very much for coming along. We do hope you've learned a little bit more about the Californian sea lion, and do enjoy the rest of your day here with us at the zoo.
Is it 3 girls and 1 boy?
That's right, well done.
Yep. Told ya.
Excellent. That's the noisy one.
That one.
That's the one, the black one, yeah, the one closest to us. He's the boy.
That one.
That's right. I'm going to take all the females down to the bottom.
You mean that one?
Right.
Him.
Always a dominant.
Oh, at least it's not raining, that's something.
Okay. Go. Can we look in the window for the water?